Welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another video. Today I want to talk about my favorite focal length of all time, the 28mm. A lens this small is capable of so much. Let me tell you why. The 28mm excels especially with travel photography. One lens that does it all. With this lens being in this perfect field of view, it's been used quite a bit over the years as a documentary lens. It's been used by the likes of Bruce Gilden almost exclusively. He shot most of his work with a 28mm. It's been used by Joel Meyerowitz, who's done a considerable amount of work with the 28mm. Also by the likes of Gary Winogrand, used 28mm almost exclusively for quite a few years. With this 28mm lens, I'm able to shoot much sharper images, especially in the corners than say with a lens this big. Now this also has 28mm on it, but carrying around a lens this big is not exactly ideal. Now looking at other lenses you could pick, the 35mm is probably a more popular choice overall. I think there's more on the market in regards to 35mm lenses as well, but the problem with 35mm is it's not quite wide enough and it's not quite in enough in order for doing things like portraits. I mean, obviously you're still able to, but if I want a cropped in focal length, I'm going to reach for a 50 9 times out of 10 over say a 35, which is why I don't currently own a 35. With the 28mm, it just is that nice sweet spot I find. Especially as someone who likes to shoot architecture, I feel 35mm is just too cropped in, although there's not too much of a difference, I'll have to admit. For camera lens manufacturers, if you do decide to release a 35mm instead of a 28mm, just be prepared. Chris Nichols will come for you from Petapixel, so it's one additional reason to release more 28mm lenses. If you are a camera lens manufacturer, please and thank you.
So now, if we were to look at this lens, the 28mm for vlogging work, this is about the image you would get and like what you could expect if you were just extending your arms out. And I feel like this is actually perfect. I mean, it shows most of my upper body and most of my head, and it's not too far cropped in that it like you're like right in my space, and I'm rather as well in your space when you're viewing it. So I think this is good. I think the 28mm is underrated for vlogging length.
When Leica was choosing their flagship all-in-one camera, they picked the 28mm for their Q. And this is the lens that is still on the camera today, the 28 Summilux 1.7. One of the things that became extremely beneficial with this pairing over the years was the increase in resolution with digital images. With the ability to crop in these days with, say, a 50 megapixel image, you can crop to 35, 50, 75, depending on the camera. And with that 28mm, it actually is able to provide a lot more flexibility now than before. I should mention as well with this Leica Q camera, the current price on the market of the Q1. Now, while being looked at as being an incredibly expensive camera, most people don't necessarily consider the Leica Q. Now, I may be damaging my chance in the future of picking up the Leica Q again for an affordable price, but people should know truly how great that camera is, especially when comparing it to some of the all-in-one Fuji cameras. I think the Leica Q with the 28mm Summilux is a much better buy than most of the Fujifilm X100 V6 cameras. One of the most popular lenses over and above the Leica Q is the Ricoh GR3. Now, they've released two separate versions, one with a 28mm and one with a 40. A 40 is actually what I'm currently recording on, which I find is my ideal focal length for a studio setup in this small room. Now, the Ricoh GR3 at a price of $1,350 is a great camera, although I personally don't own it currently, but I did before in the past. Well, obviously, everyone's heard the saying before, less is more. And I think it's true in a lot of ways. Having less can increase creativity a little more, and it can help you develop a unique style that you can call your own. And I think not being burdened by the weight of so many lenses can actually be quite freeing. So now, if I were traveling with a lens, the 28 is my go-to. I think every time this is what I'll bring. If I were to go to a specialized architecture job, yes, I'd want something wider. Something like, say, the 21 millimeters would be perfect for that if I'm wanting to focus mostly on architecture, but that one lens is going to be the 28. Because I like to shoot street photography. I like to shoot landscapes. I like to shoot photos of... Actually, I kind of hate shooting photos of my food, to be honest. I don't understand the appeal to it. I'm not going to lie to you and pretend that that's my thing. Maybe you've actually shot 28 millimeters quite a bit and you don't even realize it. Go through Lightroom or whatever photo editing software you have and check your metadata. See, where do your photos typically lie that you shoot within. You should be able to see that information and then gauge whether or not this lens is actually right for you. I challenge you, if you do pick up a 28 millimeter, try it. Try it for an entire month, try it for 2 months, see if it increases your skill and if you feel like you've got any better. Now, I have the 24-105 Canon f4 lens for the EF mount, and I was wondering that could also be a good video as well, because it's the complete opposite side of the spectrum, but it's still the one lens that does it all. Personally, when shooting though, I get much more enjoyment out of using a small setup like this. I have lots of issues with my hands and carpal tunnel from my previous job, so carrying something like this, it's not ideal for me all day long. So now I'm willing to go through the struggle of that pain for you if you would like to see that video, so please let me know. Now, as I'm closing up this video, I want to say thank you so much for coming to stop by. I hope you enjoyed the video. You take care, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.